Because I don't think Crawford's going to put him away, and I think Canelo's a much better mover than people give him credit for, and I think Crawford will be hit more and hit harder than he's ever been hit before, but I don't think he'll go out or down.
Consistent with Terence Crawford's fight schedule over the last several years, where he's been pretty much fighting one time a year. That one time a year is clearly giving him a lot of time to rest and recover from his injuries.
Boxing analysts have spotted a serious weakness in Terence Crawford's recent training footage. Gareth, who initially backed Crawford to defeat Canelo Alvarez, has now changed his stance. As the fight draws closer, he's siding with Canelo, warning that Crawford is about to face a level of power he's never encountered. This shift underscores the rising skepticism over Crawford's ability to withstand Canelo's strength and endure at the sport's elite level.
Early on, very close rounds in the first 3 or 4. We'll be divided on who's winning. I think Canelo will get going in the second third of the fight and land some big shots. I think Crawford will look good as well. Rounds 6 to 9, we'll be looking at who's getting ascendancy in the fight. Crawford will have weathered the storm of the big Canelo punches, countered himself, still close rounds. I think Canelo will push away and in my view will win the fight, because I don't think Crawford's going to put him away, and I think Canelo's a much better mover than people give him credit for, and I think Crawford will be hit more and hit harder than he's ever been hit before, but I don't think he'll go out or down, and if he does go down, he'll get up. I think it'll be a very, very close affair, and I think even if in those last 6 rounds Crawford's got Canelo's number in terms of movement and timing, I still think if it's very close in rounds, I think it'll either be a draw or a narrow points decision for Saul Canelo Alvarez that everybody feels is very controversial, and then they'll do it again. That's how I see it playing. That's the plot, if you like, with the subplots in the drama of one of the biggest fights we've seen in Vegas since.
Gennady Golovkin's trainer has issued a strong prediction about Terence Crawford's jump to a higher weight class. He suggests that Crawford's stamina may not hold up, and that signs of fatigue could appear as early as the 4th round. The sudden increase in body size and added muscle, he explains, could slow Crawford down and sap his energy. Since Crawford has never fought at this weight before, the trainer stresses that the adjustments will be enormous. Carrying extra pounds can make even elite fighters feel sluggish, drain their gas tank, and spark early frustration. Without careful pacing, Crawford risks burning out before the fight even reaches the middle round.
Triple G's former trainer said that Crawford's gonna be quick in the first 4 rounds, but once Canelo figures him out and actually starts hitting Terence Crawford, in which Sanchez described as, quote, like a huge truck hitting him, it'll be game over for Terence Crawford. He explained that Crawford may not have the legs for someone like Canelo in the 168-pound division. Sanchez also added that if Canelo was eventually going to be Crawford's endgame, then Crawford should have jumped weight divisions a while back. Now, Crawford could have technically done that after the Spence fight. However, his once-a-year fight schedule prevented that from happening.
Rumors are swirling that Terence Crawford may have suffered a shoulder issue during his preparation for the Canelo-Alvarez showdown. Though nothing has been officially confirmed, even the suggestion of an injury has raised alarm among fans and analysts. The concern is amplified by the fact that Crawford has typically fought only once or twice a year, giving him ample time to rest and recover before entering the ring fully prepared. This time, however, the quicker turnaround has denied him that luxury, meaning any nagging discomfort could carry into fight night. In boxing, a shoulder problem is no minor setback. Everything from punching, speed and power, to blocking, timing, and distance control depends on shoulder strength. Even a minor strain could blunt Crawford's combinations and weaken the impact of his shots, making it harder to earn Canelo's respect. Beyond the physical challenges, the mental weight of such an injury could make him hesitate in exchanges, a dangerous flaw against a powerful, experienced opponent like Canelo Alvarez. If the whispers are true, Crawford enters the ring at a severe disadvantage. Facing a fighter of Canelo's caliber without being at full health leaves almost no margin for error, turning an already risky challenge into an even steeper uphill battle.
Solitary training camp and in every single solitary fight, a guy that is as old as Terence Crawford, 37, 38 years old, is going to have some type of injuries. They're going to have some type of old nagging type of stuff, especially a guy that works as ridiculously hard as Terence Crawford does. That was just a matter of time before wear and tear is going to start going and things are going to start popping off and going wrong, right? Also, you can tell that the reason that this is kind of consistent with Terence Crawford's fight schedule over the last several years, where he's been pretty much fighting one time a year. That one time a year is clearly giving him a lot of time to rest and recover from his injuries and gives his body time to heal up. And as a result, he's ready to go during fight time. So I wouldn't put too much on this. I would say though that if you're a gambling person, man, you should probably want to keep your money in your pocket for this particular fight, man, because this thing can absolutely positively go either way with between the two of these guys. Canelo Alvarez is an exceptional fighter, much bigger than Terence Crawford is, or been fighting at a much bigger weight class than Terence Crawford's been fighting at, and much more experienced at that level at 168 pounds. But Terence Crawford is just such a superb fighter and such an intelligent fighter in there that you can know that he's going to be coming there to fight, and he's got a significant chance to win that fight. Unless, of course, that injury is real. I mean, and it is significant and is preventing him from, really sitting down on his punches, because he's going to have to at a point in time with Canelo Alvarez is going to have to do something to get him up off of him.
Keith Thurman has offered a grounded take on the upcoming clash, reminding fans that Canelo Alvarez, though not undefeated, remains a highly dangerous opponent. He explained that while every fighter has flaws, exploiting them is far from easy. In Thurman's view, Canelo's vast experience, polished skill set, and proven toughness make him a challenge no one can afford to underestimate. Losses, he noted, don't always diminish a career. In Canelo's case, they've helped mold him into a more complete and resilient fighter. Thurman warned that labeling Canelo as beatable doesn't automatically mean Crawford will succeed. To truly prevail, Crawford must reach a level he's never shown before, especially against a fighter with Canelo's size, pedigree, and championship pedigree.
An unbeatable fighter. That's fine. None of us are really unbeatable, right? But people got to understand this. Canelo Alvarez is not an unbeatable fighter. The question is, whoever he's fighting, we don't question what Canelo's going to do, right? We question what his opponents are going to do, right? It's not even really about Canelo. Canelo's going to show up as Canelo Alvarez, right? Ginger boy. So the question is, are you going to beat him? And are you going to beat him today? Like when fight night happens, is it you and is it now? You ready to beat him now? He's not unbeatable. Maybe you can beat him, but are you going to do it? And are you going to do it now? You feel me? Because I thought Danny Jacobs was going to have a way better performance.
Danny actually performed well against Canelo, but he didn't take any chances. He was doing just enough to not get beaten.
And Canelo was feeling himself. Canelo had preparation. He had that head movement, losing to Floyd, this and that. He fought some flat-footed fighters. He got used to getting his head here and there and ducking down and then pulling out and spinning out and little tactics. I've never seen somebody make Danny Jacobs miss so many punches. It was highly impressive. I did not expect that, because of the amateur pedigree growing up with Danny Jacobs. I know exactly what kind of New York fighter he is.
Recent footage from the face-off between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez has sparked major discussion. To many observers' surprise, Crawford looked noticeably bigger than expected, nearly matching Canelo in size. This stood out, given Canelo's reputation for stocky strength and dominance at higher weight classes. Crawford's bulked-up frame has led to mixed reactions. Some view it as proof that he has successfully added muscle, while others caution that size doesn't automatically translate to power or stamina. The real question is whether Crawford can carry the extra weight naturally once the fight begins, without sacrificing speed or endurance. Looking bigger may provide a psychological edge at the stare-down, but the real test will come over 12 demanding rounds, where conditioning and adaptability matter far more than appearances.
With that said, they're going to face off in an epic showdown. And the big talk, obviously, is the size difference, right? That Canelo Alvarez is much bigger than the smaller Terence Bud Crawford, who is essentially coming up from 147 in the minds of many. But really and truly, he's coming up from 154 because he actually had a fight at 154, a titled opportunity, his only fight at 154 last August when he took on Israel Madrimov. Okay, and he beat Israel Madrimov, unanimous decision, to become a 4-division champion. But as you see here in this photo, there's not a big size difference. And actually, obviously, we know Terence Crawford stands at 5'8", got a 74-inch arm reach. Canelo stands at 5'7" with a 70-inch arm reach. There's not a massive size difference at all whatsoever. Now, clearly, as you see, Terence Crawford clearly has on what looks like Balenciaga shoes, and we know they are extremely big shoes, and they make you slightly taller. And Canelo Alvarez has on flats. The thing here is, the more important thing is, not if Terence Crawford can take Canelo Alvarez's punches. It's not if Terence Crawford, is going to get bullied around the ring. The concern with the weight is how Terence Crawford carries it himself. Does he start to fatigue in the second half of the fight? Should he get to the second half of the fight?